Own goals, a red card, penalties, and a shootout for an extra point. Sunday night's Leagues Cup match between Sporting KC and FC Cincinnati at TQL Stadium had it all. In this week's First Team Report, we'll hear from manager Peter Vermes after that 3-3 draw in Cincinnati, give you everything you need to know about Sporting's next Leagues Cup opponent, Chivas Guadalajara, and what SKC need to happen in order to advance to the knockout rounds of the tournament. Sunday night at TQL Stadium, Sporting KC did what few teams have been able to do against the Supporter Shield leaders: score goals and go toe-to-toe with the league's best team. Sporting got off to a dream start, scoring 2 goals in the first 12 minutes of the match. The first, an own goal by Nick Haglund that came off of a cross from Kyrie Shelton. The second, a beautiful header by Danny Rosero off a set-piece delivery from Gadi Kinda.
It's curled in toward the back post for Rosero! And they've doubled the lead!
But things would take a turn in the 30th when striker Alan Pulido was shown a straight red card. This, of course, means that Pulido is now out against his former team, which is Chivas Guadalajara, when they come to Children's Mercy Park on Monday night. And FC Cincinnati in that game took advantage shortly after that moment with this finish that was deemed an own goal on goalkeeper John Polskamp. Just moments later, TQL Stadium went into a weather delay, allowing Sporting to regroup for a little bit for the next 30 minutes. Once play resumed, SKC held on and got into the half, still up 2-1. Then, second half, 56th minute, Lucho Acosta picks up the ball in a dangerous spot and dishes it across the 18 perfectly. Brandon Vasquez right there.
Drag back, and Vasquez deposits it in!
Now all tied up with SKC down a man, a handball call in Cincy's box in the 69th minute sets up this penalty that Gadi Kinda steps up to take and absolutely buries it to make it 3-2 SKC. Sporting held on through the final 20 minutes plus most of stoppage time, but a handball call on Danny Rosero in the box gives the hosts a chance to level it in the dying minutes of the game. Lucho Acosta does just that from the spot, and both teams would end regulation with the game all tied up 3-3. Which meant that both teams were going back to the spot for a penalty shootout that would determine who would get 1 extra point after the match. Cincinnati were able to get past SKC 4-2 in penalties, but Sporting still leave the game with a point and a lot to be proud of. Despite the result, manager Peter Vermes was pleased with the performance and the fight his team showed to play 60-plus minutes down a man.
I just think the team played very well. I really do. The team was confident. They moved the ball well. Possession was good. They defended well. They were organized, like I said. And they dealt with all the different things that went on in the game. And unfortunately, it was taken from them. I feel bad for them from that perspective because they did a hell of a job with their effort and their focus and their concentration and scoring 3 goals away from home. Yeah, very good, very high level. So proud of them from that perspective.
It was a wild one out at TQL Stadium Thursday between FC Cincinnati and Chivas Guadalajara, the other 2 squads in SKC's Central Region Group 3 of this year's Leagues Cup. Since he got out to a 2-0 lead through a first-half brace by Brandon Vasquez, and then things went from bad to worse for Chivas, who saw Gilberto Sepulveda sent off in the first-half stoppage time with a red card for denying an obvious goal-scoring opportunity. The score remained 2-0 in favor of Cincy for most of the second half before it was suspended due to weather with just 30 minutes of play remaining. Play resumed on Friday afternoon and Chivas came out of the gates hot, scoring this goal through Brasinho to make it 2-1. But just about 13 minutes later in the 73rd minute, Brandon Vasquez had his 3rd goal of the match, a hat trick for him in this one to put the game away. FC Cincinnati winning 3-1 at home over Chivas Guadalajara. And now for Sporting Kansas City, they control their own fate on Monday night when they host Chivas at Children's Mercy Park. They need a win in either regulation or in the penalty shootout in order to advance to the knockout rounds. The Mexican side has gotten off to a strong start in the 2023 Liga MX season. They sit atop the standings and are the only team that's won all 3 of their first 3 matches of the new season. Chivas is tied for the most goals scored through the first 3 games with 7 and have only conceded twice. You can catch all of the Leagues Cup action right here on MLS Season Pass, and be sure to tune in to Sporting's next match at home against Chivas Guadalajara on Monday, July 31st at 9 p.m. Central.